Dr. Sunday AKC. First, congratulations are in order for the award of Justus von Liebig Award for the World Nutrition 2025. We are really happy to have you here at Bonn for the Tropentag. I would like to know, how do you feel for winning this award? And what was your first reaction when you were contacted to inform you that you won this award?
Oh wow, it feels really very good. A sense of satisfaction in the sense that what you're doing to improve food security and nutrition and trying to overcome hunger globally is being recognized. So, not just by the team that you're working with in your organization, but at least several other people around the world get to notice that you're trying to make an impact to transform livelihood and bring science into real action and impact on the everyday people that we work to satisfy. So it feels really nice, and I'm happy that I was selected for this. But to be honest, it came like a shocker. When I got the message, I was staring at my computer for almost 10, 15 minutes and wondering whether this was real or it's just something from nowhere. But I'm excited.
Great. I mean, I could tell from your facial expression that it was a shock to you, and there's a sense of satisfaction that what you've worked for several years has been recognized as useful and impactful. And speaking on impactful, you gave a keynote on fruit fly. Could you take us back to why you focused on fruit fly, how you started, your achievement, the impacts, and if you could share some anecdotes from the people who benefited? Just give us like more or less the summarized version of your keynotes. And you could tell people really loved it, the applause, the rapt attention. That was really impactful and wonderful. Tell us about it.
Yeah, when we talk about agri-food systems transformation, the bulk of the attention, as you would probably know, is directed at staple food crops. Here we are looking at the likes of maize, the like of potato, cassava, fruits and vegetables, or horticulture in general doesn't come to the limelight as such. And over the years, I've decided to devote a lot of my attention to looking at fruits and vegetables, or horticulture in general. And when I got into this field, I realized that clearly there was a challenge. Domestic horticulture is growing in Africa, and same with export horticulture. Both combined improves livelihood, provides a lot of opportunities to improve the economic growth of every nation generally, given some of the things that you have to address across the value chain, from production up to processing and marketing, and of course, consumers at the end of the day. So it's first like a huge sector for me to delve into and see how to address the challenges that were there. And that was how I got into realizing that there was a big problem that is called fruit flies that is really ravaging the entire value chain from production down to post-harvest and even marketing. Growers could not market their products because of this particular problem. And the unfortunate thing was that they could not find a solution to it. It was something that was like so novel, and I said, okay, I'm going to go into cracking this and see how to make a dent in terms of improving the livelihood of these smallholder producers. As I mentioned in my presentation, we have 500 million smallholder farmers that are supporting 2 billion people. And globally, there are 2.8 billion people that do not have access to healthy diet. So you look at all these factors combined with micronutrient deficiencies and how it is impacting on the health of our people. I felt that there is a niche here to make an impact, and that was how I got into it. But first and foremost, the fact that smallholder producers that we are trying to have access to market could not because of this problem, and looking basically helpless, not knowing what to do. It was a challenge for me to address. And then it's so exciting now that when I go to visit them, some of these producers today, that in the past, basically we are cutting down their trees because of fruit flies, have gone into replanting to come back and produce more avocados, more mango, more citrus, expanding tomato production or expanding other fruits and vegetables and solanaceous crops that are attacked by fruit flies because of the impact. We have given them a solution. I mean, that makes a lot of difference. How much more can you ask for if you see that these growers that were looking so helpless, but today could see that there is light at the end of the tunnel in terms of the technologies we are providing for them to address this challenge. That's exciting.
Awesome. I have a follow-up question to that, which was, piqued my interest because of your response. The solution you found, was it a classical control method, a chemical, or a biological control? And in addition to that, how was the first reception by the farmers to this solution? Did they adopt it quickly, or they were more like lagging behind and before they trusted your solution?
Oh, wow, it's just very challenging. Remember that they were relying solely on chemical pesticide application. And then we've had issues of maximum residue level. If you spray too much, the produce is rejected. If you don't spray, it is damaged by fruit flies. So we had to find a middle ground somewhere by looking at a solution that allowed them to have access to market, yet does not contaminate the fruits. So we can say it's an agroecologically based biological control method. Because we do have a pesticide component in the intervention, but it is only used as a targeted option. So we have an attractant, we're looking at food baits, we're looking at attractants, we're looking at biological control options, but you have to lace the bait which we develop, which we found is a remedy for the cover spray. You have to lace it with the pesticide. Otherwise, the flies won't die. You could easily put a liquid solution and they can go and get drowned. But still, it's nice to lace it with just a little quantity of pesticides. And then you use it as a targeted application or attract kill option, where the flies are pulled to a specific spot. And then the flies are attracted to that and they die. But it was such a challenge to convince the growers to abandon what they were doing initially, which was cover spray, to start looking at biopesticide, for instance. In the first place, they said the biopesticide doesn't smell, so it is not a good product. They believe that a chemical control product should smell very bad. And here we bring in an attractant or a biopesticide that even smells like a perfume, a cologne, somewhere there. So the growers said, no, we are not going to accept this. And the multinationals that were providing these chemicals also want to make profit. And they were following us behind and trying to convince the growers, here is the best option. Don't use this thing. It doesn't smell, so it's not going to kill your flies. But I think at the end of the day, through a gradual process of convincing them and taking them along in the development process. Also working with farmer organizations, which were a powerful tool for the diffusion of the technology instead of working with individual farmers. We saw a gradual uptick in the technology. And it made a lot of difference in terms of the health impact, because most of these growers, they realized that excessive use of pesticides was also impacting on their health. And they began to think of other options, other solutions, other innovations that are there that could be used to manage the fruit flies. So adoption was quite a challenge, but I think more and more they are realizing that it does work and increase income by over 40%. So why go back to excessive use of pesticides, which is more expensive and yet have all kinds of environmental and health issues?
So we are not looking at a silver bullet that serves as a one-stop solution. It was like a mosaic of solutions in form of an integrated pest management. Could that have been the reason why the farmers were not convinced that they have to try several things in a package and not a one bullet like a chemical?
Yeah, in this particular case, it has to be IPM. I think that's the most sustainable management option when you have to look at fruit flies. So we're looking at a combination of tactics. But the interventions, as you may have seen from the presentation, they're quite broad. But we encourage them to use just between 2 to 3 interventions. That should suffice. Not everything. The commercial producers have the luxury of using a plethora of options. But the small-scale producers, we just tell them 2 to 3 interventions should suffice. And if you want to assess quarantine-sensitive market, you have to now apply the post-harvest technique, which includes the use of cold treatment or hot water treatment, depending on the produce that you are exporting. Cold treatment for citrus and avocado, while hot water treatment for crops such as mango. And that should do the job for you.
Great. I have one more final question before I let you go. How did you break into the market, or how did you get the products to the farmers? Was there an alliance between the research institutes, academic like yourself, and the industries and the government? Could you describe this triangle for us? And of course the farmers, which is like the end user.
That's a very, very important question, because regulatory hurdles are one of the biggest challenge we face currently in Africa, especially if you have to develop a new product. But what we have done over the years is to involve the policymakers from the beginning so that they see the advantages of these products that you are developing. Waiting till the end, when you have developed the product and then you call them for a workshop, I tell you, you're going to run into problems. But if they get to see through all the process of development, commercialization, and registration, the entire value chain, and they are convinced, by the time you get to the committee that are evaluating the product, they sit there, they already know it. Yeah, and then also involving the growers. So it's not a research that is done by a research organization alone and you say, here is the solution, farmer take it. No. We start from the beginning by working with the farmer organizations. So they are seeing the benefit of the intervention, the innovation that you are bringing to them. The regulators are looking at it, the policymakers are looking at it. And in any case, we also have the opportunity to have a parliamentary sitting. And that higher level buy-in from government officials at the parliamentary level also ensure a quick uptake and registration of the product. Nevertheless, these products still have to be registered country by country, which is not good. So harmonization policies must be in place for the biopesticides, the bait, the attractants, and all that. And that's what we are currently working on with the African Union to make sure that most of these interventions are bundled together and are harmonized so that you don't have to go through each and every African country trying to get your product registered for the benefit of our growers.
Thank you very much. I said this was the last question, but something popped up again. I need to really get this from you. What projects are you currently engaged in now?
I have a project that is funded by the Canadian government. It's called Brains. And it's looking at three value chain. One is the fruit tree crop that includes what I've just described in my presentation on fruit flies. Then there is the aspect of insects as alternative sources of protein for food and feed. As you would know, one of the most expensive ingredients in feed is the protein. And then we are trying to use insects as a cheaper alternative to the use of the small pelagic fish that are overfished from Lake Victoria and the like, or the use of soya bean or cottonseed cake and the like. So that's another program that I had set up in ATSAF that is doing very well. So it's another component of this value chain we're addressing. And then we have another project, the third component of this project is beekeeping and providing income generation opportunity for youth and women across various. This is being implemented in 13 African countries. It's close to 20 million Canadian dollar project. So it's one of the key projects I'm currently implementing with several colleagues at ATSAF. In addition to that, I still have a lot of interest in the biopesticide field. And I'm looking at developing biopesticides for several other pests, again to move our growers away from some toxic compounds. And then at the moment, I'm also, as the Director of Research for Development, I'm involved a lot in science governance at ATSAF, which means that I have to oversee the entire R4D in my organization that cut across animal health, environment health, plant health, and human health. So I have quite a bit on my plate, but I'm focusing on the research docket. I'm focusing a lot on the Brains project just to ensure that it's a success, just like this one.
I must say that your hands are really quite packed. I hope you do find some time to rest and recreate, and hopefully these projects will see the light of day and make more impact and maybe more awards for you. And on the light note, you won 25,000 euros in the Justus von Liebig Award for World Nutrition. Could you give us some insight what you will do with that money?
That's a tough one because this news came not too long ago, and I'm just reflecting on how to go about this. But one subject that is at the heart of what I do every day is to develop environmentally sustainable, nature-positive interventions. And if I could have an organization or even work with an organization that is working a lot in shunning out bundles of nature-positive interventions that protects the environment, that restore ecosystem health, that ensure soil fertility, minimize land degradation, I think that would be wonderful. So that's the direction that I'm thinking, and a potential investment of these resources or this award is likely to go towards that, but still not well conceptualized as yet.
Thank you very much for your altruistic intention. This is really quite rare to devote your award money to finding solutions to problems. Dr. Sunday AKC, congratulations once more for this award, and hope you find time to relax and connect at the Trop Intact 2025 in Bonn.
Thank you.
Nice to have you.
Thank you very much.